So when working out, when you've got trigonometry questions, you're going to decide which formula to use. And what you've got to do to begin with is decide whether it's a right triangle or a non-right triangle. And of course, a right triangle looks like this because it's got a right angle in it, and you've got to see that little thing in there. A non-right triangle will obviously not have a right angle. And if it's a right triangle, are they asking to find an angle, or are they asking to find a side? And for an angle, the question would look like this, where you're given two sides and you don't know the angle. And if you're asked to find a side, then you will be given an angle, 23 degrees here. There's your right angle, and we've got to find x, and we know this is 6. So for each of these two cases, we're going to use SOHCAHTOA. And what you've got to do is find out which we know. Do we know the opposite? Little tick box. Do we know the adjacent? Little tick box. And do we know the hypotenuse? A little tick box. And if you tick two of these, say opposite and hypotenuse, then you know you'd use sine. Okay, that's for a right triangle. How about a non-right triangle? Well, the first thing you're going to do is, are we going to use the law of sines, or are we going to use the law of cosines? And usually, the law of cosines is a situation like this, where you've got an angle, 26 degrees, and you've got two sides like that. And we call that SAS, side angle side. That means that the law of sines will be something like this, where we've got an angle, 37 degrees, and we know the side opposite. So that's a giveaway when we've got something like this, where you've got a side and an angle opposite each other. And it could be two ways. They could ask you to find the angle, or they could ask you to find the B here. But they'll give you one of those two informations. And that is called angle side, or angle, I think it's angle side, which makes a rude word and which we don't really want to use too much. Okay, so side angle side will give you law of cosines, and law of sines will give you angle side, or angle side.